Welcome back to Country Conversations. My name is Joey, and as always, I'm joined by...
Hey man, it's Chris over here tonight. What's going on tonight, Joey?
Man, not a whole lot. We've got a fun episode planned tonight for our
We
listeners.
do.
Yeah, it's a good one. We actually have a special guest on. His name is Braxton, and he is the co-founder of the Greenville Country Music Fest out of Greenville, South Carolina. Braxton, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing good, guys. I appreciate you having me. Looking forward to some conversation here tonight.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, man.
Definitely. Appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. So, uh,
Definitely.
guys, basically, we've got Braxton on here tonight to talk a little bit about the festival, this year's lineup, where you guys can get tickets, the few years the past that they've had this festival down in Greenville, and we're super excited to talk about it. So, Braxton, why don't you go ahead and talk to us about this year's festival, who you guys have on the bill, and a little bit more about where our listeners can find tickets and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is technically our third year festival held in Simpsonville, South Carolina, right outside of Greenville. 2-day festival, November 5th and 6th. Um, we have guys, our headliners this year are Zach Bryan and Turnpike Troubadours, followed by a local favorite right outside of Greenville, the Marshall Tucker Band. We have Ernest, Flatland Cavalry, 49 Winchester, uh, Stony LaRue, kind of you name it, that red dirt Americana genre. We've tried to hit a little of every angle this year, and man, the response has been unreal. But website to go to find out kind of all information on tickets, camping, hotel accommodations. Our partners is gvlfest.com. Tickets are still available as of right now. We're kind of ramping up that downward spiral of finishing out this last push, and hopefully can announce sellout here in the next few weeks. But it's been a crazy response this year, and just looking forward to continuing partnering up with guys like you and seeing what we can finish this last little rally with a push like we've done.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, November. I'm guessing the weather down where you guys are is probably perfect in November for outdoor music, right?
Absolutely. I guess November people refer to around in South Carolina as the perfect tailgating weather. So
Yeah,
I don't think you can go wrong.
that's cool, man.
There are some solid names on that lineup this year, too, guys. For those of you that haven't seen any of these acts, I highly encourage you to hop on the website, get tickets ASAP, because Chris and I have seen quite a few of these guys and gals, and they all are amazing. From Zach Bryan, Charles Wesley Godwin, Ernest, we've seen him a couple times. You're,
Yep.
you're going to get your money's worth for this festival, so definitely go get your tickets while you can. So, Braxton, I know you mentioned the festival. This is the third year of doing it. What has it been like the last couple of years? Just, obviously there's probably a break with COVID, the pandemic and everything, but what was the festival like? What was that experience for the folks that were able to come out?
Absolutely. I mean, it's Greenville is kind of that up and coming city. I mean, 10 years ago, 80% of the people that know of Greenville now probably would have no idea what Greenville was. It's a very young professional, 20 to 30, even the 40-year-old demographic that is hungry out of college, looking for just fun stuff to do. So 2019, we had Old Dominion headlining. That was our first year festival held at our minor league park in downtown Greenville. It was awesome. The response was great. We kind of saw a niche in the market of city that was growing at a crazy pace, and saw there was no music festivals, nothing really music related in the area. Kind of decided to put something together with the guys who own Carolina Country Music Festival in Myrtle Beach and Barefoot up in New Jersey, and kind of put our heads together to see how we could fill a gap here in the city, and started there. Old Dominion again was a great turnout. 2020 obviously put the entire industry on a hold. Came back last year with Sam Hunt and Riley Green, John Langston, kind of that more college, out of college followed uh, names, country music. And obviously out of COVID, I'm sure as you've seen, it's the touring market has just been ungodly. I mean, every single, I don't want to call it pop country, but every single just your hot country guys are touring in every city and every state, and kind of getting a little oversaturated in many of these bigger secondary markets. So decided to take a little different approach to this year's festival and went that red dirt Americana route. And I mean, we couldn't have decided to make a different change. This has been a response that we have people flying in. I mean, a crazy statistic that we just pulled up. Greenville County is a massive county in South Carolina, and 84% so far of ticket holders are coming from outside the Greenville.
Oh wow.
So just to see a festival again, there's not a destination, not Myrtle Beach, no reason to come here except for something like this. So kind of cool to see that music and these artists can bring such a powerhouse of amount of people to the city for a killer festival.
What made you guys want to do 2 nights this year? Was it getting Zach Bryan and the Troubadours, or had you already planned on doing 2 nights?
Originally, after last year, we decided. I mean, as a promoter, when you do one night, there's not much different than doing 2 nights because of your costs are minimal, except your staffing and your artists. Everything else is set up and ready for the weekend. So kind of put two and two together. Obviously, seeing that both these guys were as hot as they were when we kind of sat down at the round table and figured out who we wanted to have. And the routing made sense. The timing of the year made sense. Kind of the last week or two that you can really do stuff here before it gets super cold. So it really was kind of like a match made for us. The timing made sense. It was around these college football games locally that there was no interference. So I don't know. I don't think there was a real answer to why we did 2 days. But again, it just kind of fell in our lap as to why would we not do 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't imagine, you would probably know better than us, but I mean, have Zach Bryan and the Troubadours headlined any other festivals, or do you think this is kind of a one-of-a-kind thing?
As far as at this time, and as far as a crowd of over 30,000 people, I think this is probably the first time that either of them have headlined a festival of this size. Zach Bryan, who out of nowhere pops on the radar 4, 5, 6 months ago, and is now playing every large concert or festival style event for the next year, and then matched with someone like Turnpike Troubadours, who reformed and rebranded the last few months and is also playing 10, 15,000 cap amphitheaters. So again, it was almost like two artists that doesn't happen ever like this, but two artists that become so hot so quick, gets put on every promoter and manager's radar, just happened to be open back-to-back nights, and that's kind of how the 2022 schedule came about.
I love it. I think it's
absolutely
fantastic that you guys went that like red dirt Appalachia type sound too, because there's obviously been a huge shift in what's popular, so to speak, in country music. So like, I'm not going to drop any artist names, but obviously there's the pop country subgenre of country music, and then you've got these guys and gals that are, true to their roots country musicians. So this subgenre, whatever you want to call it, of country music has definitely there's been a big push towards it, and people are dying for it. They want to go see it. They want to stream it. They want to buy it. And I think you guys put together a fantastic lineup.
Thank you, man. No, for sure. It's kind of one of those that we sat down with iHeartMedia. We're very close to them and on all of our venues and kind of across the Southeast, and sit down with them and kind of propose the lineup before we decided who to go with. And their faces were like, who are they? Why would you pick them? And now to see that they're begging for tickets, begging for giveaways. They can't keep people. They can't keep people off the call-in lines. They can't keep people off social media. So just kind of funny, a turn circle of an event of radio that probably would have never pushed these guys, especially local radio, to now guys that they're begging for more. They're begging for meet and greets. They're begging for the VIP experience. Just I love seeing when you have guys like Zach and Turnpike that haven't made a big splash in any kind of radio, and people say that radio runs the country world, but they're proving it day by day that that's not the fact.
Absolutely. I mean, in the modern era of social media and streaming, I mean, these artists can kind of just pave their own way now, and they're doing it. So it's really awesome to see that.
No, man, it's been great, and we're excited to have you guys down to see how this goes, because again, for all of us too that are part of this festival, it's the first time we've ever seen 90% of this lineup live. So I'm excited to see a festival, especially in Greenville.
Absolutely, man. How early did you guys have to book most of these guys? How far back did you guys start planning this? Probably as soon as last year was over?
We didn't actually. So, I mean, we kind of came out of last year and kind of figured out, man, what do we want to do with this festival? How do we want to rebrand it? Not that we needed to rebrand it. We just wanted to figure out a way to how do we make this festival different than every other festival in every other city? And we sat back and we kind of threw around the Tyler Childers route, threw around the Cody Johnson. I had Cody Johnson a month ago, so that kind of threw that equation out of play for this amphitheater venue. So I don't know, we kind of tossed around ideas for months, and we were kind of got to the point where like, listen, we either need to make a decision and have this festival, or we need to scratch it until the spring. And Zach Bryan kind of just came out. We were waiting for a few weeks for him to go on sale with a few of his other shows within the Southeast. Those went up at the same time. Turnpike within weeks went up on the same dates or different venues, but in the Southeast, and both of them just blew sales out of the water. And we were like, this is our chance. I mean, next year we quote these guys, they're going to be $1 million. So we took the risk. I mean, obviously we kind of went off of a 2 or 3 show come up, kind of hoping that ours would translate to the same success and same sales and same just response from social media and kind of just the again, like you guys said, what's hot right now in country music. So took that risk and kind of built this lineup around, as you see, that I think 95% of these artists are considered your red dirt, Americana, kind of that different country that's popping right now, and hit it off. I mean, kind of luckily, again, November's right out of your outdoor season of weather for most states, and they were available. Kind of took the initiative to take their chance on all these guys, and it's been everything so far. I mean, the social media, the radio, everything together has been nothing short of extraordinary.
I mean, obviously Zach and the Troubadours jump off when you look at it, but honestly, the first name that I noticed when I looked at the lineup was Stoney LaRue, because I mean, I've been listening to his Texas music for probably 15 years, and I don't know. I mean, I look quite often to see if he comes anywhere close to where we are or down south near kind of where you guys are, and I mean, it's not like I'm looking every day, but I cannot say that I've ever seen him come close over to the East Coast. So I mean, that's a big get too.
No, absolutely. Kind of funny. 2 weeks before we actually decided to book him on the festival, I have a little 1,200 cap club here in Greenville, and had never heard of the guy. And within probably that 2 week span of hearing of him and booking him on Greenville Fest, I probably had 10 or 15 people would just say, this guy is now on every playlist on Spotify. People love him, and clearly he's been around forever. It's just I don't know if it's a wave of the streaming that he just everyone started picking him up. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but he kind of came on the Southeast or the South Carolina radar very quick. And again, he's been one of the few that I did not know much about at all. And the response to him alone, just on social media, on the just response messenger wise, on our giveaways that we've done, has been just as big as some of the headliners, which is pretty awesome.
I mean, yeah. I mean, well, I think just with the Spotify playlist, if you're listening to Zach, you're getting a lot of Oklahoma and Texas red dirt stuff. So I'm sure people like Stoney LaRue and some of those other huge Texas acts. People are, like you said, people are hearing for the first time. And he's like I said, I haven't seen him live. I can't wait to see him live. But his music is killer.
No, and I think that was kind of when we just sat down. I think 2 weeks ago, someone brought up at our little roundtable weekly discussion. They were like, someone said, you guys asked for what was going to set us apart this year. And I think the one thing that sets this festival apart, a lot of times you have nothing against the pop country or whatever, but a lot of times you have someone like a Sam Hunt, then you have someone like a Zach Bryan. It's just a mix of your crowd. It's a mixed following, which again, nothing wrong with it. But I think what we've done this year is a little bit of, it's that strict American outlaw red dirt following. So it's kind of across the board. There's no really outliers to the lineup, which is kind of makes us definitely stand apart from at least anything in the Southeast. I know there's a lot in Texas and stuff that do stuff similar, but as far as your South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, I think we definitely have have something going for this kind of music.
Most definitely, man. So you've kind of touched on this a little bit, but I did want to ask, and kind of just for our listeners that I'm sure are curious too, you guys look at the numbers, look at the stats, look at what's hot, the playlists, the social media accounts, all that good stuff. But when it comes to actually booking these artists and, reaching out to their management or whatever, could you take us behind the scenes and kind of tell us what that process is like?
Yeah. Most of the time, I guess, again, this is kind of that new wave of country music, but most of the time when you go to book country artists, there's very few agencies that rep your hot country artists. I mean, it's your top three, WME, CAA, and uh, most of the time you can go to one guy and say, hey, I need my headliner, I need two support, I need a whatever, and they have everyone you need. So this year is a little different. This year it's kind of a lot of these Oklahoma red dirt country artists are with smaller agencies. They're with smaller management groups. So it was a little bit of, we hand selected a top 25 acts that we kind of wanted to target and knew that would fit this lineup perfect. And luckily 16, 17, 18 of them were available and we were able to put it together. But no, the process really is kind of talking to these agents, figuring out who their management is, uh, figuring out kind of the routing that they're doing, where they're coming from, where they're going to after this show or that date. Ask kind of what the price or quote that they're asking to get on the show or festival is kind of the same capacity as this festival. Uh, with that being said, you kind of go back and forth, just like you buying a home or you buying a car. It's all a negotiation phase, kind of what you're willing to give up. They got to kind of be flexible as well. I mean, we're not a 10-year festival that brings in hundreds of thousands of people like a lot of these festivals are, but it's kind of a workaround game, and it's you talk back and forth. You kind of offer up what you're willing to offer up, and end of the day, if they see the potential, and luckily again for us, this red dirt and Oklahoma country is newer to the country scene, so I think a lot of them saw the potential of, again, Zach Bryan and Turnpike, at least as the headliners, the anyone opening up for these guys kind of saw how quickly they were growing and kind of taking over this genre of music. So I think that helped us a ton as far as securing a lot of these artists when you're pushing out a festival of this capacity.
Absolutely. I know that Charles Wesley Godwin, he's actually from probably about an hour and a half from where I am. So I've been following. I know he's been opening most of the shows for Zach. So those guys were probably kind of a package deal.
It was kind of funny. We asked Zach. We were like, "Hey man, what is it going to take to get you done?" He was dead set on he's playing Austin City Limits that weekend before this festival, and he was dead set on that being his last play of his year. He's like, "Man, I want to be done. I want to hang my boots up. I want to enjoy the last few months of the year and just kind of reassess of holy cow, what have I done in these last 6 months?" We went back and forth, man, for weeks. Money, kind of what we could give up, what he could give up. I mean, back and forth, paying for flights, paying for private jets. I mean, it went all kind of the conversations back and forth were just. I mean, some of the emails were hilarious. But kind of one of the few things, I guess him and Charles are super close. So one of the few things in the last few emails before we actually confirmed it and went to contract was, I want Wesley or Charles Wesley Godwin on this lineup. And he was like, I don't care what you offer him. Obviously, we went back and forth with his agent as well, but he was like, he's my boy. We want him on this lineup. So kind of funny, like all of the things to get asked for, and one of them were just a single spot on the lineup to get the ball rolling or to get things actually confirmed.
But I mean, Zach knows he's got some weight right now, so that's cool that he puts a little bit of that weight behind, his buddy. They just cut a song together and they've been touring together. So I mean, that's
it's great.
I've seen Charles in a tiny little cafe, probably 3 or 4 years ago. He's really strong, so he'll be good. I guess the other question: do you kind of view this? Is this kind of a one-shot deal because you've gotten so many of the top red dirt people, or do you feel like this is going to be kind of the direction you guys go, or you guys just take it year by year? What do you think on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was kind of the first conversation: is how can we brand ourselves around a lineup of this caliber and also keeping us relevant in this new genre space. And obviously there's a few guys out there that fit in that same Texas or red dirt. I mean, Tyler Childers, who's one that I think any festival tries to target as kind of a standalone. He's someone. Cody Johnson's one of those. I wouldn't say he's red dirt, but he's definitely not your pop country or quote unquote hot country guy. He's kind of taking his own lane. So I don't know. There's directions we've talked about over the last few months of how can we keep this up, bringing in just as hot of talent. And I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I feel like there's very few circumstances that you can be in to land guys that right before anyone kind of rehears about them or knows how hot they're going to be. Kind of how we landed them. And again, we landed them within 2 or 3 months of them selling out amphitheaters and venues across the United States. And now 3 months later, if you don't know who Zach Bryan or Turnpike is, you'll probably get uh, laughed at or given the middle finger to down the road. So one of those, I don't want to say that it's a one in a million shot, but I mean, we're going to try our best. And I think we have decided this is a direction that we see the future going to in country music. People love it. People are traveling from all over the United States to come see. So I can't say there's many country artists, pop country or your older country, kind of whatever side point you want to put them on, that people will do that for. Half because they tour and hit all your big markets. So people like Turnpike and Zach, newer, they haven't played your markets. People are just dying to see them live after all the hype that's been behind them.
For sure, man.
Well, Braxton, I wanted to ask, I know obviously this is the third year, but what's it been like for you personally, just being one of the co-founders of this festival, watching it grow and turn into what it is today so quickly?
It's awesome. I mean, being born and raised from a small city of the town I was born, like Greenville, to kind of slowly getting to the industry as Greenville took off to a place that, again, anyone from South Carolina knows as a very large city. It's been awesome. I mean, the response to something that started how we had no idea how it was going to start, and to be kind of a brand now that people from California and Texas and Oklahoma, kind of all your big country states, know it's on the map because of a country music festival. It's definitely rewarding. It's definitely cool to see. Not sure if I ever expected to do a festival with kind of your whole Oklahoma and Texas country acts, but I mean, this has been way more of a gift, I guess, way more of something that I would never expect. The result and the response from people all over to decide to come spend their weekend in Greenville, South Carolina, to listen to some of their favorite acts. So it's been kind of all over, from meeting new people, walking down the street, from coffee shops to, I mean, I was in North Carolina last week on a concert and randomly came up. I don't know how Turnpike got brought up, and they heard, oh, did you hear that they're playing in South Carolina? I had no idea that I was one of the guys involved with Greenville Fest. So again, it's just kind of a cool, you don't hear that often because, again, most of your country music festival headliners are playing in every big city. So there's not just a lot of talk. There's not a ton of gossip going around. This is kind of one of those that stick out and kind of make an impression on the country music genre altogether.
I love it. I love what you guys are doing. I think it's fantastic.
I appreciate it.
Braxton, why don't you tell our listeners where they can follow along with all the updates of the festival, such as, like we talked about earlier, ticket sellouts, or where to find tickets? Because I know you guys have a couple different social media pages as well as the website that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so everything's pretty much branded around GVL Fest. Website is gvlfest.com. Instagram and Facebook is GVL Fest. Every day we're doing some giveaways. We're doing kind of a theme night each night. We're announcing, and I'll kind of let your followers know before anyone, we're announcing professional bull riding this year, both days. So PBR riders, kind of your top professional bull guys, are coming in. We're going to have 3 hours both days of bull riding. So that's here to be released in the next few days.
Awesome.
That's kind of included in the ticket. But yeah, gvlfest.com, whether that's on website or on social, you can keep up new updates, sellouts, kind of anything that involves the festival.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Braxton. We appreciate you coming on to talk about the festival with us and kind of giving us some behind the scenes as well. So thank you again for your time. We definitely appreciate that.
Thank you guys both. Looking forward to hanging out with you guys here in November.
Yeah, I know we're both looking forward to it, man. So
Absolutely, man.
Definitely can't wait.
We're going to have to get our hotels, Joey. I'm sure the hotels in Greenville are selling out for that.
I was looking actually the other day, so we're gonna have to get on that quick.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But to our listeners, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate your guys' support as always. Go get your tickets, gvlfest.com. You don't want to miss out on Turnpike, Zach Bryan, Ernest, Charles Wesley Godwin, Larry Fleet, Flatland Cavalry, and more. So you guys go get your tickets. Drop in our DMs. Let us know when you got them. And until next time, as always, guys, keep it country and take care of each other.